Hi everyone, it's Stephanie and I am back for season 6, episode 3, review of Married at First Sight. So let's just jump into it because there's so much that I want to talk about. Okay, so last night's episode takes you from the end of the wedding, so them going to their hotel rooms together, and takes you to them going to their honeymoon. So it ends pretty much when they get to the honeymoon spot. So you get a picture of what that 24 hours looks like, of them kind of leaving everybody in the chaos and the excitement of meeting families and friends and meeting each other for the first time. At this point, they've probably known each other for 6 hours too. Spending the first night together, interacting with one of the experts before they go on their honeymoon. They find out where they're going. They're all going to Jamaica. And also just kind of that first, like, okay, let me take off my makeup. Like, this person gets to see me for who I really am, as far as women are concerned. I feel like first dates or first few months of a relationship are like interviews with cocktails and food. So a lot of times we don't show our real selves or the depth of our real selves. So this is like go time. This is like take off your makeup. Do you fight in your sleep time? So they get to find that out. It's really cool. So first couple, Jaclyn and Ryan, I really enjoy them. They have such great chemistry. Like it's like so comfortable watching them. I hate to say I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it seems so perfect right now. So I'm hoping that that's really because they are like really, really meant to be. But they are easy to watch now. They have very good chemistry. They're a lot of fun. So one of the things that happens also wedding night, traditionally, people have sex on their wedding night, if you have the energy to. Because at the end of that day, it's a very long day. But people have sex on their wedding night. But in this experiment, it's kind of like, I'm not really sure. And that's acceptable because, hey, I met this person 6 hours ago. For some, that's perfectly fine. It just depends on, how you get down like that. And for others, they kind of want to get to know each other. It might take another week. It might take a few days, whatever the case may be. The spin is that, okay, I'm legally married to this person. So I think like psychologically, it's like, I'm fighting my own moral compass, but then I'm like, logistically, I am married to this person. So that's kind of how it works. So you get to see if each couple decides to do whatever. My bet was that nobody was going to do it. And I lost that bet to my husband, and I had to give him a foot massage for that because I just knew he wasn't. And he bet that Jaclyn and Ryan would do it. And they did. They had sex, and they had a good time, and they seem to have this wonderful chemistry, so I hope that goes on. There wasn't too much more that happened. Also, they got to meet each other's families and have a brunch. All the couples had a brunch the next day with their families, which is nice because you get to have a little more of an intimate interaction outside of the wedding and, face to face, and sit down and really talk about like the anxiety before that and how people feel now, and kind of like the calm of like, oh, this person seems like a good person. I really am comfortable with this, or I hope it works out. So they had a great experience there. So moving on to Molly and Jonathon, they have great chemistry as well. They're having a really good time. Jonathon reinforces that he is happy he lost his job. He's like, I don't care, because so far, so great. Like, he's so happy with her. She's so happy with him. He felt like it was worth doing this experiment, and so far I agree with him, because you never know where you'll find love. Sometimes you have to step outside of yourself, maybe do the opposite. If it hasn't been working out for you, you might want to have a conversation with yourself about what you're doing or what you're not doing. Or sometimes we just have to get over ourselves and take a risk, and do something outside of the box. So he did that. So far it's worked for him. They also talk about how much chemistry they have, and both of them agree that they can recognize immediately why they were matched, because they have so much in common. They joke very much the same. They're very adventurous. So that's really good to see. They had a good time visiting with each other's families at the brunch, and they're super stoked about going to Jamaica. So that's exciting for them. Nothing really was alarming for me for them in this episode, so I just can't wait to see how it continues to unfold when they really get back from the honeymoon. Jephte and Shawniece. Okay. I had to save them because I have to rant about them. I I don't know, man. I really am rooting for them because I root for love. But if I had to go based on what I'm seeing, it's not looking good. Um, I I don't even know where to begin. So of course the first night they get in the room, and they don't have sex, and that's perfectly fine. You know, if this was me in that experience, I wouldn't either. Just me personally. So it's a personal thing. They don't have sex. The interesting thing is that Shawniece is kind of down for it. Like she's down for the D. She is down for it. If he would do it, he not only is he like absolutely not about it, but he almost is doing it in a way that is like off-putting. Like, I get it, you're reserved, but don't make your wife, or really any woman, like feel like shit like that. You know, excuse my French, but like it's like he pushed her away. And women are sensitive. You know, we really want to be wanted. We want to know, even if we're not going to go there because out of respect, we want to know that you do want us, you know. So it was hard to watch that because I was like, okay, he's taking it a little too far with how off-putting he's making it seem, the idea. And it wasn't even like a, hey, out of respect, let's just get to know each other. It was just very like he was over there and she was, you know, kind of hoping for something. And I think she would have been happy even with just a little affection, maybe hand holding. Like, we're not asking for much, but something, you know. So moving on, their brunch was pretty cool. You know, they had a good time with family. His family wasn't able to be there, but, you know, they had a good time nonetheless. One of the things that I noticed was that as they were sitting, and this is just like my therapist, life coach brain, but as they were sitting at the brunch, she was sitting on one side of the table with her mom, and he was sitting on the other side of the table. With the other two couples, both, you know, husband and wife was sitting next to each other. Even if they were sitting next to a family member, but they were sitting next to each other. They were on opposite sides of the table, which is like alarming for me because the day after you marry your spouse, you're like conjoined twins. Like, you're not leaving them on the other side of the table. You know, maybe a few years in, you're like, okay, bye. But, you know, like the day after, you are joined at the hip. So, and I had a brunch and a beach day the day after my wedding. My husband was like right here because we were just so happy. And yeah, family and friends were all around, but like, I wouldn't be able to see him on the other side, and neither would he. You know, it's just like this cutesy thing that happens. And so to me, the lack of needing to be close, especially when I observe the other couples being close, is like a red flag for me. There is no connection, and it's fine. It's not fine. Why I would say it's fine is because they just met each other. But why it's not fine is because you're still legally married. You still did this experiment, and you're trying to build something. So even something, especially that couple who really doesn't have much of a outward chemistry to begin with, something simple like sitting next to each other is a big deal, you know? So that was something I noticed. Anyways, their flight got delayed for the honeymoon, and they got there really late. They could have made it fun. Because I've been there, we've all been there, where we've been traveling and, you know, travel plans don't go as expected. You know, you choose to have a good time or you sulk about it. I mean, most people try to choose to have a good time, especially when you're with somebody new. I mean, we have all the time in the world to get to know each other. You know, what's your favorite color? Twix or Skittles? Like, you know, whatever. So they got there in a bad mood, and I would think it's more so him than her, because I think she's kind of like down for the cause for whatever, and she's pretty much a bubbly personality. He might have that on the background, but at the forefront it's very reserved, and it was kind of like, I'm in a bad mood, you know, like we were delayed, our bags are still back there, and etc. I've had that happen, you know, a lot of people have. You wait for your bags and you move on. You know, you walk into this beautiful room, there's fruit, there's food, there's champagne, like get into it. But he did not. So that was another thing where I think Shawniece might be a little too emotional. I'm just going to throw that out there because, like, I think everything is a big deal with her, or she hyper focuses on things. There was a scene where she was like, he doesn't know my name. Not my name. He doesn't know my phone number. And so, you know, he was putting her name in his phone, and he put her full name, which, you know, is normal, but she wanted some like, cutesy wifey type of thing, and he didn't do it. And so then she made kind of like a big deal about that, and he was like, I'll add a heart, and she was like, no, forget it. Here's, my name in my husband's phone is my name. Like, it's shortened to Steph, like whatever. And men don't think about that stuff, FYI. Like, it's Steph because it's been Steph since we got, since we've been dating and we're engaged and married, and he didn't change it. Like, women are the one who think about, hubby and honey and hearts, and the moment after I say I do, give me my phone so I can change it to husband. Like, men don't do that. But, that's like something that became a thing, and I was just like watching it like, girl, chill out. It's not that big of a deal, like if everything is a big deal, then God, like when the big stuff comes, you're not going to be able to handle it. So that was something where I'm like, in some way her emotion serves her, but in other ways it will be very destructive. So moving on, Jephte basically, obviously they, weren't intimate. And later on in the episode, he said, if there was a blanket, he would have slept on the couch. And he kept saying over and over, to the point where she started crying toward the end of the episode, that you're a stranger, you're a stranger, you're a stranger. Okay. First of all, she is somebody that you don't know well, but right now, like the whole stranger danger thing, it doesn't work anymore. It's not, because she's a complete stranger, somebody you do not know. You now know this girl. You may not know her intimately, you may not know personal things about her, but you've just spent a good amount of time with friends and family and getting to know each other. When you first meet someone, sometimes you can have an instant connection with them that, yes, they're a stranger, but it doesn't feel that way. Or you might have an experience with them that makes you feel like, oh, I have a connection with them, or good or bad. A lot of people are trauma bonded. If we go through something together, oh my God, like now we are on a certain plane together that only we can understand. This person is somebody that you married on first sight. You guys automatically are in a space where you can understand each other in a way that most people will never understand. So he really needs to get over himself. I'm like annoyed. I'm annoyed with watching it, because stop screaming stranger danger. Like, knock it off. Like, she's your wife. You may not know her well, but you don't have to be it's so off-putting. It's like I cringe watching it, because I'm like, wow, he doesn't recognize how he's coming off. Now, when I take off my viewer hat and I put my therapist hat on, I'm like, okay, where's this coming from? I 100% know part of it is cultural. I believe that he was raised to, treat women in a certain way. A lot of people are, and they don't. But I think he has taken it to heart. But there's something else there, and I don't know what it's about. I don't know where this reservation comes from, like this extreme reservation. Because you can tell he's uncomfortable, and that's fine, but he's not even allowing himself to be himself, because I see beyond what he's showing. So even not knowing that person well, you can kind of joke or have other type of conversation that you're comfortable having. He mentioned something like, I don't know your favorite color, or you don't know my favorite color. Well, why aren't you having that conversation? Why aren't you doing something that makes you comfortable? You're not doing anything. I don't care at this point. No, I'm getting upset. I don't care at this point that he's not comfortable, because you don't beg to be on the team, and then when you make it and the coach says jump in the game, you complain about why you cannot play the game. You know what you signed up for. I read an article that said like, oh, he doesn't watch much TV, and I don't want to hear it. It doesn't matter if you don't watch much TV and you don't know what the show's about. When you signed up for it and you went through the extensive process, you knew what it was about. Jephte, get in the game, okay? Nobody wants to see this. If this is how it goes, I'm worried for them. And there's so much potential, and he needs to just get over himself. And I say that with love. Like, I'm a very direct person. I will lovingly tell you what you need to hear. He needs to get over himself. She needs to turn it down just a notch, because it's too much. It's like there's a slow burning flame and there's a fiery flame, but they're both on fire in some way, and they will fizzle each other out if they don't like knock it off. And really just start with the basic conversations, the basic conversations. And I don't want to say it's one person's fault, but right now it's really heavy on Jephte. Like, I think she would be willing to take whatever he gave. If he said, hey, I'm not really, he said it in a way, but he's not really communicated it effectively to me. So if he said it in a way where it's like, I'm not really comfortable just yet, but let's go get to know each other in a different way, she would eat that up because she just wants it so bad. So I will continue to root for them. But I really hope that they turn a corner in the next episode or in the next couple of episodes. And of course, I'll continue to give a recap. If you like this video, subscribe, click the subscribe button or share it or ask questions. I love hearing what people, want to know or what people are thinking as well. And then we'll go from there. And I'll see you next week for, not season 4, but episode 4. Have a good week.